Lorraine Howard said her very close relationship with Tina Satchwell changed when, at around the age of 12, Tina found out Miss Howard was not her aunt, but in fact her half-sister. She said Tina harboured resentment and their family setup caused issues. She became emotional as she told the jury Tina had two families, and even now they had two graves for her. When asked by defence counsel Brendan Grehan to describe the relationship between the defendant and his wife, Miss Howard said Richard used to call Tina his trophy wife or trophy girlfriend. She said she didn't like that comment or think it was right. She described Mr. Satchwell as obsessive. She said he wanted to know where Tina was all of the time, who she was speaking to, and said every friend Tina met he would find fault with them. She said Tina's friendship circle would get smaller and smaller, and she didn't like the way he was, describing it as controlling and odd. The jury has heard Tina's remains were found under the stairs of her home in Youghal in 2023. Richard Satchwell denies his wife's murder. Ms. Howard was probed on a statement she made in 2020, at which point Tina had been missing for 3 years, when she used the phrase Jekyll and Hyde to describe her sibling and told investigators she feared Tina may have been depressed or taken her own life. She told the trial Richard showed me every scar he had on his body and blamed Tina for it. If he had a paper cut, he'd blame Tina for it. She said Tina was suddenly violent and causing all sorts of damage, and that's why she was so worried for her well-being, because that wasn't Tina. Lorraine Howard, who hadn't spoken to her sister in 15 years by the time Tina disappeared, said she gave that statement to Gardaí in hurt and anger as she blamed Tina for putting their family through turmoil. She said she had described her sister as this violent person, but she had never seen any violence from her, and said her views had changed after she discovered that Tina was dead and buried when Richard Satchwell was calling to her house and telling her all these lies. She was the final witness to give evidence in this trial, with closing speeches to commence tomorrow. Deborah Naylor, Virgin Media News at the Central Criminal Court.